So guys, let's get into this. Let's talk about this. So do you guys know that it's back in vogue to not like the blacks?
Oh, John, you're the expert.
Disavow.
Go to my screen. The CDC reported today that only 28.4% of the black community have received the COVID vaccine, with states like California and New York mandating vaccine passports to enter restaurants and businesses. The black community would be the most affected by this modern day segregation. Right now, New York, starting in September, and Los Angeles just drafted their own legislation that would not allow anyone who's not vaccinated to enter gyms, specifically gyms, because God knows you need to be, healthy to get in those, Macron. But also the fact that you also need to get into places. We're finding out that the most affected people are children and black people, who are the least vaccinated in the country. So effectively, society has turned against the most vulnerable and the most persecuted among us. I mean, is this based, or is this like not good? You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of misdirected. Like, my dad called me the other day and we went through the rundown, and then, hey, did you see this article on Breitbart? And I was like, no, Dad, I didn't go to Breitbart yet. And he was like basically saying the same thing, that these policies are most likely to affect minority communities because they're the least likely to get vaccinated. And so in a way, Democrats are the real racists, which I have
I've never heard that before.
I have a problem with that because you're using the word racist, which is a term that is bought and paid for like by the left. Like all the infrastructure that exists that makes us think racism equals bad. Not to say that it is bad, or no, wait. Not to say that it is not bad, just to say that like the reason we hear that word and get anxious is because of all of the propaganda that exists convincing us that being racist is the worst thing that you can be. That's the first problem, is thinking that you can co-opt that word that they own and use it against them. Like, no, but actually what you're doing is racist. Haha, it's never going to work. Secondly, the policies are never actually going to be enforced with black people. It's only going to be enforced in white areas. You know this because on the micro level, when they were doing mask mandates, I know this from personal experience, and I'm sure this can be corroborated by everyone in the room.
I went to the black
Savannah.
malls. I went to the black malls.
Did you ever see one black person get confronted for not wearing a mask or wearing it improperly?
Savannah, can we bring this up?
I've never been confronted.
Exactly.
Sydney.
Literally.
We went to a bar in San Antonio, okay? We walk in without a face mask. And as soon as I go to the bathroom, they walk up to Sydney and tell her to ask me to put a face mask on. And that is the absolute state of America.
That
So,
has happened to
confirm.
Savannah and me several times, actually, when we've been out to bars and restaurants and other things. They wait until she's either gone or they exclusively come and speak to me to get her to put a mask on. And I'm like, what? And then thankfully Sav kicks off and I just go, wow, this is just the life as a white person.
You know,
Do you
it's
think
like
it's my height?
actually racist for people to like go to Sydney to talk to me, but whatever. It is what it is.
It's because they want that like intermediate person that's that's not Hispanic.
It's because Sid's not as scary. Yeah, exactly. Sid can't pull a race card.
I'm
I
not
can be
gonna
like,
yell.
are you a racist?
I think that they almost implicitly know this is just kind of like white people being white people. The problem with the forced vaccines disproportionately affecting black people isn't to say that like that isn't. I guess it exists. It's just more like if we're going to allude to that framework of morality that they have built, we're always going to lose. It's like, we're not going to say forced vaccines are bad. We're going to say forced vaccines are bad, but because poor black people don't want to get them. The same way with affirmative action, we're not going to say affirmative action is bad because white people are getting screwed over. It's because Asian people are getting screwed over. It's like we're so cucked and so guilty that we're always going to advocate on behalf of minority groups instead of just acknowledging like that we exist too.
A great philosopher once said that you can be 2 out of 3 things: liberal, smart, or honest, but you can't be all 3. At Slightly Offensive, we're smart and honest. And if you like this clip, head over to Slightly Offensive YouTube channel by clicking right here, where you can find new episodes of our show weekly. We're bringing you the topics, news stories, and angles that will have you saying, why the hell wasn't I subscribed sooner? Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel too.